Hey guys! Today we'll be covering a 2022 drama film called Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. The movie is set in the year 1957, when Europe is still recuperating from the Second World War. One morning, Ada Harris, a London-based cleaning lady, goes on about her usual routine catching a bus to work with her friend Vi. She goes over to a couple of houses of lords and ladies and cleans them. The notable ones are Mr. Newcomb, who always lies about his affair with Ada, Miss Penrose, who aspires to be an actress but hasn't quite had any luck, and Lady Daunt, who always makes late payments to Ada. Later that evening, Ada and Vi go to a bar to enjoy themselves. There, they meet their friend Archie, who buys drinks for the ladies. After getting their drinks, Ada shows Vi a telegram that she just received. She hopes that it is from her husband Eddie Harris, who had been sent to fight in the Second World War 10 years ago, but hasn't been heard from since. Unfortunately, the telegram only consists of Eddie's ring and a letter saying her husband has died in Warsaw, Poland, and she will be contacted with any further information. Ada breaks down in tears, while Vi tries to console her. The following day, she goes to Lady Daunt's house for the usual cleaning. While cleaning her wardrobe, Ada sees Lady Daunt's expensive Dior gown. The moment she lays eyes on the gown, she dreams of buying one for herself. Lady Dante notes that the gown is called Ravissante, which she bought in Paris for a whopping £500. One night, Ada and Vi sit down to see if they've won that week's football bet. Surprisingly, Ada gets all her guesses right and wins the lottery. Vi asks what she's going to do with the money, and the latter replies that she's going to go to Paris to buy a Christian Dior dress and wear it on their Community Legion dance day. Unfortunately, she only won £150, so she has to gather the rest of the money. In the following scene, Ada collects the money from her savings and also asks Mr. Newcomb if he can refer her services to his friends. She also advertises her seamstress skills to earn extra money for her trip to Paris. Next, Ada asks Lady Daunt for her due payment, but the lady instead wants to reduce Ada's working hours since she too is on a tight budget right now because of her daughter's wedding. Later, while returning home, Ada finds a diamond clip on the road and reports it to the authorities. She returns to her cozy apartment and does her usual sewing work before bed. Just then, she hears a knock at the door, and it's Vi. Vi informs her that Archie got them into the Greyhound race betting. The following morning, the two women arrive at the race stadium and meet Archie. There, Ada follows her instinct and bets £100 on a lean greyhound. Archie doesn't think the greyhound will win, so he wants Ada to bet on other dogs, but she still insists. Unfortunately, Ada loses her bet along with the £100. Frustrated and sad, she returns home, but cannot fall asleep after losing her hard-earned money. The following morning, she hears a knock at the door, and it's a young soldier who brings news about her husband. He shares that after the death of her husband in 1944, she is bound to receive a war widow's pension. Ada cannot believe that she is getting money just when she needs it, but she is once again called upon at her door. Outside, she sees a policeman in Vi, who informs her that the owner of the diamond clip she handed in the other night wants to reward her for being an honest citizen. Her day couldn't get any better when Archie arrives to reveal that he managed to get back the £100 that Ada had betted on the other day at the Greyhound race. Ada is elated with all the money she just received, which totals £582, enough for her trip to Paris. Next, Ada catches a plane to Paris and arrives at the storied House of Dior, legendarily on Avenue Montaigne. It's the day of Dior's 10th anniversary collection show when NATASHA, a Dior model, hurries her way inside the building. But when she trips, Ada immediately jumps in to help her. NATASHA forgets her purse and a handbag, so Ada collects them and follows her inside the Dior building. However, the manager, Madame Colbert, is frustrated to see a common woman with an average fashion sense in the building, while she is busy welcoming the elite ones for the showing. Ada insists she too is there for the big day and wants to buy a dress for herself. However, Madame Colbert doesn't believe Ada can afford a Dior dress and urges the Dior accountant, Andre, to usher her from the building. Ada insists she has enough cash saved from scrubbing floors, but still, the manager won't let her see the collection. Meanwhile, another viewer for the showing day, Madame AVALLON, makes fun of Ada's clothes and poor social status. Thankfully, a man who has been watching them argue for a while decides to help Ada and asks her to join him as his guest for the Dior collection viewing. Once inside, the showing starts, and models including NATASHA begin to strut each haute couture or impeccably custom-fitted Dior dress. Ada and the other viewers are left in awe with each of the dresses. She writes down the name of her favorite dress, ready to do the fitting once the show is over. Later, Ada tells the Dior assistant Marguerite that her favorite gown is Temptation, but unfortunately, she is informed that she won't get the gown since Madame AVALLON has already selected it. The manager, Madame Colbert, apologizes for the inconvenience and asks her to leave, but the accountant Andre suggests Ada choose another gown, which is equally beautiful and lavish. Ada, having come all this way, agrees. But when she finds out that the dress will take at least 2 weeks to be custom made, she loses hope as as she has a return flight the same day. Just then, Natasha arrives at the scene and suggests Ada send a telegram home to explain her situation and wait for the gown. However, Ada isn't so sure since she doesn't have anywhere to stay in Paris. Thankfully, the kind Andre invites her to stay with him since his sister is out of town. In the next scene, Marguerite takes Ada for her dress fitting. Once she finishes, Natasha takes Ada to Andre's apartment. The two ladies arrive at his place only to find a messy room. They then clean the room, and Andre is surprised to see his apartment all tidied up when he arrives later in the evening. The three then share dinner, and it is evident that Andre clearly has feelings for Natasha. The following day, Ada goes to the house of Dior to try her fitting. Marguerite shares how it's difficult for them to deal with the grander clients since their wishes always need to be accommodated. The fabric, embroidery, and buttons, everything must be the very best for them. So it has been hard for the company to meet their clients' demand. After she finishes with the fitting, Ada comes outside the building and stumbles into the same man who helped her the other day. He formally introduces himself as Marquis de Chausson and takes her for a walk. He then buys her a rose and asks her to join him later that evening to watch a classical dance performance. That evening, Ada and Mr. Chausson sit for dinner and share a bottle of champagne. Surprisingly, Natasha also happens to be at the same restaurant, and the two chit-chat about fashion and men. The following morning, a hungover Ada wakes up to find it's 10:30 a.m. and has missed her fitting at Dior. She hurriedly takes off, but when she arrives at the building, Madame Colbert informs her that it's already too late. She adds that Ada's deposit will be returned. Marguerite, hoping that it will ease Ada's sadness, offers to show her around the building where the actual work of Dior occurred. After a while, Ada finds herself in heaven when she enters the back office of the House of Dior. Being a seamstress herself, she sure knows a thing or two about fabrics. Meanwhile, Madame Colbert has had enough of Ada, seeing her interfere in the workplace, and calls her to her office. There, she reveals that the workers at Dior are astounded to hear about Ada's long journey to buy a Dior dress, so they want to complete the gown for her. Although Madame Colbert wants otherwise, she has to keep her workers happy, so she has decided to make the gown for Ada. Later, while walking down the streets with Andre, Ada shares that it was her dream to wear a Dior gown. Andre comments that he has never met a woman quite like her. He also shares that Dior has been facing financial problems, although he does have an idea in mind. But since Madame Colbert basically rules the company, nobody takes him seriously. Hearing this, Ada encourages him to present his views to Christian Dior himself. One day, Mr. Chausson invites Ada for tea at his mansion. He shares that his wife Delphine died a long time ago and has been alone ever since. He then adds that Ada reminds him of a cleaning lady from his childhood who comforted him during his sad days, as Ada did. Ada thought Mr. Chausson had invited her for tea since there was a spark between the two ever since they met for the first time. But when he compares her to another cleaning lady, she realizes that he is just another rich and spoiled brat who has no respect for women like her and expects loyalty in return. So she abruptly leaves without joining him at the tea table. The following day, Madame Colbert is forced to fire several of Dior's workers due to financial constraints. When Ada learns about this, she organizes a strike and demands to meet Christian Dior. Madame Colbert thinks Ada is indulging in their business too much, but the latter justifies that the workers have families to feed, so they cannot just be fired. Enraged, Madame Colbert commands Andre to stop Ada, but instead, he helps her into Christian Dior's office. She then asks the CEO for 10 minutes of his time to listen to Andre's ideas to modernize the business and make it profitable. Andre isn't confident at first, but after seeing Ada, he gathers his courage and tells his boss about the plans to save the business. Andre wants the company to extend the product lines so that the House of Dior can make not only custom-fitted clothes, but also affordable ones that a modern woman can buy. Thanks to Ada's dreams, Andre came up with such a plan. Surprisingly, Christian Dior agrees with the plan, and instead of firing workers, they will now need more, as there will be mass production of clothes. Ada and the workers cheer with joy, while Madame Colbert quits her job as she doesn't like the idea. Having shared his brilliant idea, Ada now wants Andre to confess his feelings for Natasha. Later, the two go to see Natasha, and Andre finally tells her how he feels about her. The two then kiss, while Ada sighs with relief. The following day, Ada tries on her lovely green gown, which is finally ready, and returns to London with the dress. She finally arrives at her apartment, but is soon visited by Miss Penrose. The aspiring actress shares her misery as she has nothing to wear to an important social engagement that could finally land her a successful role. Ada, being the well-intentioned woman that she is, offers her new Dior dress to Miss Penrose, who greedily accepts it. The next day, Ada goes to Miss Penrose's apartment to clean, but finds a large burn mark on her designer gown. Next to an apology note. It turns out that Miss Penrose mistakenly caught fire during the party. Ada becomes upset to see her most valuable possession being ruined and returns home to cry. In the next scene, when unable to contact Ada for days, Vi and Archie come over to her apartment to check on her. She pours her heart out, saying she didn't even get to properly wear the dress. Hearing her worries, her friends try to soothe her. One evening, Ada reluctantly opens the door to a delivery boy who makes her sign for a special delivery from Paris. Ada thinks that the boy got the address wrong, but he insists the delivery is addressed to Ada Harris. It turns out that NATASHA, Madame Colbert, Andre, and Christian Dior himself read about Miss Penrose's Dior dress disaster in the newspaper, and as a token of their appreciation and friendship, sent Ada another dress, Temptation, the one she initially wanted to buy. In the final scene of the movie, Ada finally wears the gown of her dreams and attends the Community Legion dance party. Archie and Vi cannot take their eyes off Ada as she flaunts her lavish dress. The ending scene marks Archie and Ada dancing together at the ball.